Hello. So today we have an opportunity to host Darshit, the first founder in India in longevity space, and I am grateful to have you today with Softices Capital. This is the first podcast we are going to do today. So let's just quickly get into the brain of Darshit, what he thinks about reverse aging and how he has the vision towards the longevity industry in his space. So hi Darshit.
Hi,
So
hi, Yash.
how was your day?
Oh, it can never get better, from the day you're living. Yeah,
Okay, so just started with the let me understand what exactly reverse aging is. I have heard many times like people are saying we can reverse the age. So what does that mean? If we want to explain it to the in a very layman language, what is reverse aging?
right. Now, I mean, to really understand reverse or reversing aging or reversing biological age, I think it's important to understand what exactly aging is, right? Somehow we have accepted that it's a pathway to death. That's what aging is to a common man today, right? That
Yeah.
we are gonna age as years grow older, we'll get deteriorated in our health, we'll start developing diseases, and finally we are going to die. So that's the definition of aging. And because this definition was so rigid over the past many centuries, I think no one saw it as a biological phenomenon or something that could be tweaked. I mean, imagine you have a diabetes, you have a cancer, you go with hope to a doctor that this is going to get cured. In many cases, it does with the modern medicine. But we never looked at aging from that perspective. We looked at aging as a natural course of life, but no one realized that that is the core source of why you are even getting diseases. So these days, how aging is being defined, I mean, you take the social aspect, you take the philosophical aspect, everywhere aging is different. Philosophically, aging is all about wisdom because
Yeah.
as you age, you gather more information,
True.
and I'm all for it, to be honest. Socially, aging is causing concepts like ageism. You might have heard that, okay, after a certain age, people don't hire someone because they think they're getting old. So I think this is one of the negative aspect I say. But when I talk about aging, I purely talk it from a biological sense. What does it really mean is that as you age, different parts of your body gets damaged, and as this damage accumulates in your body, more and more organs and more parts of your body become dysfunctional, right?
Okay.
So this is what aging is being defined biologically: a progressive deterioration in your biology such that things get useless after a point, right?
Okay.
That's aging. Now when we keep this definition into our mind, there are multiple ways or multiple terms being used these days. One is reversing aging. I mean, honestly, that's the best word to use when you're talking to a layman. But when it really comes to it, we say reversing biological age, not aging per se. So, what is biological age then? Your cell has a tendency to gather, let's say, X amount of damage as it ages. What if I can do X minus 2?
Oh,
Right? Let's remove some damage and see where we are. Let's
got
remove
it.
some more damage and where we are. So that's biological aging and reversal of biological aging. But I mean, all the words that are being used today are, of course, reversing
Okay.
biological age and not aging per se. Then we have health span. Health span is basically the number of years you're living without a disease. So
Okay.
let's take an example. In 1950s, the average lifespan of a person was about 35 to 40 years old.
Yeah.
Okay. Today it is 70,
Yeah.
right? But what's the average age to get a chronic disease, if I may ask you?
If I it would be like in I also have this acid reflux and it is not staying over a night but it stays with me for years, and not just me, people like me, because of the diet we consume. Now it's been maybe I am wrong, but I have this perception around 20 to 35 people can get.
Yes. So the average age for hypertension in India is near 28.
Oh,
Average age to get a type 2 diabetes is about 35. Average
okay.
age to get a cancer is about 45 to 50. So you see, if you're living for 70 years and if you get your first disease at the age of 35, that 35 years you're living with a disease,
Yeah,
right? So your health span is only 35.
35.
What the longevity industry and science throughout the world are trying to do is reduce this gap. So if you're
Okay.
going to live until 80, but if your first disease only shows up at 70, then your health span is 70 years, right?
Got it.
And it's a much better life led with much more quality of life till the very last decade of your
Got
life.
it.
So that's health span. So there's lifespan, there's health span, there's reversal of biological age,
Got it.
there's reversal of chronic diseases, there's aging research, there's longevity lifestyle. So all these words kind of commemorate one single thing. How many years am I able to live without disease? And am I experiencing the best quality of life as I age? If that is true for you, then you are living a longevity lifestyle.
That's great.
And if that's not true for you, maybe you need to do something about it. Mindset is what? It's reductionist. When I say reductionist, let's say we'll pick up a very simple disease, okay, which every one of us goes through at least a few times in our lifetimes. Common cold,
Okay.
right? How many times do we get common cold? I think quite
Often,
frequently,
yeah,
right?
frequently.
What do we do? Am I coughing? Am I sneezing? Yes. Let me take a medication for sneeze. Let me take a medication for cough.
Yeah.
What we are doing is we are taking a big problem, we're breaking it into small problems, trying to solve these small problems, thinking that we'll solve the big problem. But that never really happens.
Yeah.
Right? It anyways you take a medication or two, you will still take 7 days to recover.
Yeah,
Without
definitely.
medications, you can recover in 7 days as well.
Yeah. But
Right?
maybe
Yeah,
symptoms might be
9 days.
Yeah, 9 days.
Right? You might be
Understood.
coughing 5 times more than
True.
what you do usually.
Got
But
it.
the idea with aging and longevity is this: we want to solve the bigger problem.
Yeah.
We don't want to break it down to smaller
Smaller
problems.
problems.
Let's put the same example into aging now.
Okay.
Okay. Type 2 diabetes, cancer, cardiovascular issues, dementia, Alzheimer's, arthritis, sarcopenia, which is muscle loss, chronic kidney disease, liver failures, your lung failures, okay, your ability to remember, which is memory and everything, kind of going down. In all the diseases that I mentioned right now, how many of these do you think happen at the age of 15?
1550.
1 5.
15. None.
When I say 50, almost
Might
all
be.
of them comes to mind.
Yeah, might be.
So then what's the problem? Is it these disease or is it aging?
Like,
So what we have done is we have taken aging as a big problem, never
Okay.
tried to solve them, broke it down to multiple
Multiple
disease, and now
disease.
we are trying to solve these disease.
oh,
The amount of money going into single disease,
is
right?
way far.
You combine all of them, you put 50% of them into the aging research, and you'll find more solutions there.
That's I never have this perception before, and this is something which is really insightful. So what we can have this key takeaways as well, that can a human being increase their lifespan if they are following the best practices of their longevity and their aging process, if they are concerned and they are following the best way possible in that, can they live 100 and 150 years down the line while
So, I mean, let's not talk about lifespan at all,
okay,
right? That's my answer to that. Why? Because if I know that Darshit is going to live for 80 years, sure, and then if I live to 85, then I can say my lifespan is increased. But do I know how long am I going to live?
no,
There's no upper end to what my age is going to be when I die, right? So rather to look at health span, the idea is that if you are today getting sick at the age of 35 and still getting to live till 70, imagine if you are not getting sick until 70, then can we expect that we'll go to 100?
yeah, definitely we can.
Imagine if we are not able to, imagine if we don't have any diseases till 110, can we go to 120? Imagine if we are not getting any disease at 130, can I go to 150? So the question to ask is, how long can I live without diseases? How long can I live in a way that my biology is so optimized, it gives me the same output as when I was 30?
So how can this like when you say there's if we cannot get sick until 60, then how does it become possible because of the food we intake, the air we breathe, the environment we stay in? So because of multiple factors, some diseases are also genetically transmitted. So there are multiple factors of getting sick or getting having any diseases. So in general aspect, how these practices are being adopted, where it, up to certain extent, it doesn't allow sickness, or it doesn't allow some diseases to your body. So what exactly happens over there in a very layman language, like
No,
how
I
it works?
mean, see, the first and foremost, very important understanding that the modern world about health has. For the last 20 years, we have been thinking that everything is genetic. Okay. But one thing is the cards that you are dealt with, another thing is how are you going to play those cards,
Okay,
right?
true.
Cards that you are dealt with is your genetics.
Got it.
How are you going to play those cards is your epigenetics.
Got
For
it.
example, I come from a family where BMI of 27 to 30 is average
Okay,
before I came into this, before me, right?
true.
And my BMI is 21. I'm perfectly fine with how I'm managing my weight. I am genetically predisposed to type 2 diabetes. I'm genetically predisposed to cardiovascular risk, but I don't even have early signs in my blood work.
True.
It's because I have played my cards well. I have been dealt with a certain kind of cards. How I'm playing it is what matters. And that's where the word epigenetics really come into the picture.
Got it.
So your genes are your switches, and your environment is what is going to switch on or switch off
Off.
a gene, right?
Okay.
If I'm predisposed to type 2 diabetes and I'm having sugar like a regular person, my genes are going to be switched on, and then no one can stop me from getting a hardcore diabetes or
Got it.
my fasting glucose going 100 or
Got
plus,
it.
right? But it's because I know this. Why genetics test is important? Because I know what cards I've been dealt with. Now I play it wise. I know
Got it.
I'm predisposed to diabetes. Let's avoid sugar completely. I'll not
Got it.
have sugar in a single day, right?
Got it.
Then beat cardiovascular issues. Am I doing my breathing practices right? I understand we live in an environment where air is not at the best that probably it was 50 years back.
Yeah.
There are solutions for it. I think not many people know about it. There are dehumidifiers for your room. There are air purifiers for your room. You can do endless things with that.
Got it.
Even if I leave out of the equation air and water, let's say it's not in our control, which is usually not, right? Because you can't decide which air you are going to
Yeah.
breathe
That's
or which water you're going to drink,
yes.
right? But food is in my control. What I'm eating, what I'm putting through my body every day is in my control. If I'm sleeping on time, waking up on time, that's in my control. If I'm having enough mechanisms to cope up with my stress such that it doesn't take a toll on my body, that's in my control. If I'm doing 3 things out of 5 right, I'm already on a better path than 60-70% of the planet.
True.
So I think we'll have to start at those very basic fundamentals, and then all these advanced things come.
So, Darshit, I want to ask. So, for humans, we are practicing this reverse aging, and we are talking about longevity. So, apart from humans, what else species, living animals over there, who can also have this in their lifespan, where I have a pet at my home and they have a lifespan of 13 to 15 years. So, is there any possible approach towards reversing their biological age so that they cannot get much sick and they can also increase their lifespan?
See, first of all, I think we need to understand that whatever we know about human aging, we have learned it from animals.
Oh,
Okay. There are species of rats like naked mole rat, which can live above 30 years. There
wow.
are species of whales which can live 500 years.
Yeah,
There's large animals like elephants which live for about 70, 80 years. There are parrots which can live for about 60 years, right? So, whatever we know about the aging process, we have learned from animals, first of all, and bats, for example. And I think a lot of these extrapolation comes to humans. And if we are talking about what other species are we artificially, I would not say artificially, but we are compelling them to live longer.
yeah,
Dogs is one of the major species that have been researched upon. I'm a big fan. I would say I was a big fan of this very interesting study going out in USA, led by Dr. Matt Kaberlin.
oh,
It was called the Dog Aging Project.
wow,
Unfortunately, he didn't receive his next set of funds, which is why he had to stop it. But there was a lot of interesting insights on from the dog aging project. You will at least see four companies in USA which is working to extend your pet's lifespan. They have also managed to make some dogs live until 18, 19, 20 years old
Wow.
as well. So research is happening. It has come out into the world as well. Lots of places where they're making dogs, cats live a bit longer than what they're supposed to live, a bit more healthier than what they're supposed to live for. So I think future is promising, and there'll be a more large scale adoption for pet longevity than human longevity as we go forward, because pets are the next children.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I totally agree with that because I have seen them very closely, and even they do not have. We human are doing everything we can to save humanity. We have this first priority with ourselves. But when it comes to other species, I have seen we're not giving them much importance towards their health industry, their healthcare, about their diseases. That there are certain medication, but not up to that extent. We are not even putting enough uh, resources into researching about their medications
for
in
sure.
the future of their health.
No, for sure. I think not very much in India, but if you actually check the pet industry in USA, Europe, there's plenty money going into personalizing diets for their pets, personalizing medications for their pets. Dogs get microbiome tests done to
Whoa,
manage their diets and everything. So mm, there's a immense boost outside of India.
India.
I think we are yet to do it, but I know a few people in India who have started thinking about it and have done a couple of pilots with us as well.
That's great.
And it's quite exciting what we are going to see in that side of longevity as well, I think.
That's really amazing. So one thing I'm more curious of. So does skin also, because people don't want to get older, people don't want to look older. We always like to get compliments, like we want to hear like, "Hey, you look so young." So what is what are the possible ways in where either any possibilities in reversing the age of the skin?
Absolutely. I mean, go out on the road, you see a very well polished, shining car out there. Okay. You get into the driving seat, the first paddle you put on the accelerator and the car kind of crashes down. Imagine your experience with that, right?
Horrible.
So that's what it is. I think cosmetics came way too early. The idea should have been first health, then cosmetic. I'm completely for having a good skin and having a good hair. But our bodies don't exactly function like car when it comes to that, right?
Yeah.
If we keep our insides clean, our outsides will always be clean. I know folks who don't even use a face wash and have skin glowing like a 20-year-old at the age of 45. And I know folks at the age of 25-year-old whose skin is wrinkled, pigmented at multiple places. There's hair fall, there's graying of the hair and everything, right? So I think the first goal should be to keep your insides clean, uh, and that will automatically reflect on your skin and hair, right? And even after that, it's not happening, then it's fine. You go out. There are skincare regimens and routines, and everyone people are following, putting plenty of money in there. I'm completely for it. I'm not against it. I'm against the concept that you're just trying to make your skin look better
True.
while inside it's completely burning.
Got
Yeah,
it.
right. So yeah, I mean that's my opinion on that. So 99% of the times, if your diet is alright, you won't get an acne.
Yeah.
99% of the times, if your vitamins are okay, your skin won't get pigmented. 99% of the times, if you're sleeping well, you won't get dark patches under your eye. It's that 1% time when you're just taking care of dark patches and not really looking at the insides.
True.
Again, coming back to that reductionist approach, the bigger problem is health.
Got it.
One of the smaller problems is skin.
Skin. Got
You're
it.
trying to solve that, nothing is happening to the bigger problem. You solve
True.
your bigger problem, all your
Everything
problems
is
will get
solved.
solved.
So here is the really key takeaways where if we try to focus on inside of the body, and if we focus on maintaining the good health of each and every organs, indirectly it is interconnected. So anyway, most of the skincare routines, or we are trying to solve those problems, it's been automatically been solved by following those
Absolutely.
routines.
I mean, collagen. It's
Got it.
one of the most important substances that you must take. You see, half of the beauty industry is now selling collagen. Now, collagen is not just for your skin. It will make your cartilages better. It will make your joints better. It gives
Yeah.
that building block. Now, if your insides are clean, I mean, if you're taking collagen in the right way, and it will reflect on your skin. I would
True.
say when you're working on your biological age or organs age, skin will be a side effect, a good side effect
Got it.
that you will observe.
So how did the idea of longevity come into the existence in the first place, and how you thought of building Decode Age?
But if you talk about why aging, why am I building in the longevity industry at all, or why am I excited about this field? I think for me, the answer goes back to 12 years back. So I was 16 years old. I lost two of my uncles to cancer in the
Oh,
same year. And since then, I had decided that I want to do something about health, or something about human bodies, help people out of their misery from these diseases. And for me, cancer was the moonshot back then. And there were two options, just like for anyone else with me. Either I could have become a doctor or do what I'm doing right now, which is biotech. Why I chose not to be a doctor is because this is my logic again, that if I am the most successful doctor in the world right now, okay, and if I'm able to deal with 10 to 12 patients a day, and if I work 300 days a year, let's say, and I'm curing about 3,000 patients a year, then, and if I'm working for 4 decades of my life, 40, then multiply 40 by 3,000. How much is it?
one
Hardly
lakh,
1 lakh
1,000,
20,000.
120,000.
Let's put a upper number to it, 10 lakh people. So at max, being a doctor, I could have helped 100,000 people in my lifetime. But what if I invented a drug? What if I invented a test which could diagnose something
Interesting.
early? Then you could help billions of people
True.
even after you die, right? Louis Pasteur for vaccination, right? Antoine Leeuwenhoek for microscope. All these doctors, these were not doctors, these were not medical professionals. They never dealt with patients, but their discoveries in the year 1600s are helping people till today.
That's
So that's how I got into biotech, and I wanted to solve cancer through biotech. And as I went into my education journey, a stellar lecture done by one of my professors in the university I was studying in UK, he came out with a concept that cancer and aging are pretty much a mirror image of each other,
wow.
because we don't want one cell to die while the other cell doesn't want to die. So
Got
that
it.
was kind of coming from there, and he painted a picture of how aging and longevity research is moving these days, what are the moonshots, what goals we are trying to achieve, why aging is the root cause of all the diseases that we know. So it was an overnight flip of my mind that, okay, not cancer, let's work on aging. Maybe I'll solve everything with it,
Everything we did.
right?
That's
And I'm a big puzzle solver. So again, my motivation for aging is not because I want to become immortal or I want to live forever. It's because I like solving complex puzzles, and aging is the biggest puzzle of biology. It starts from the head to the toe. So that was my motivation to.
and that make me also think of that. What is your vision up, like from 20 years of now, or 5 or 10 years? What is the journey of Decode Age will look like from your perspective?
I think there's a lot to do, first of all, in
Okay.
terms of education, customer mindsets, adding behaviors, changing understanding of health. So I think education is the first step, which we have already focused on. And I think building will never stop. I think for us, product building is not a one time thing. For us, it will be a forever thing. I think every step, every point, every year, we'll have to keep innovating and building new things out there. But if you ask me my vision, then the idea is simple, that we started it and we want to make sure that we lead it for a good time until
Okay.
a next generation of a great company comes. I think we want to hold that control over the. I would not say control. Control is a bad word. It's a demeaning word.
Mm,
But I would say we would like to be at the top when everything turns out well for longevity in India. We want to
that's
maintain
great.
that leadership, and we want to become a one-stop shop for everyone for longevity. We want to handhold them through their journeys. We want to. We have a project Longevian coming
Okay.
next year.
What's
Uh,
that?
so we are gonna have a cohort of 100 people who we are going to make real longevians who will be
Wow.
living disease free for at the age of 40, 50. So I think that will be a good start for us, I guess. And we
That's
want to
great.
have more and more longevians in India.
Recently, I was listening to the podcast of Brian Johnson, and there were a couple of things which was interesting. He mentioned that he has the best aging speed, which is 0.64. So, what is the aging speed, and what's this 0.64, which he is claiming he has the best in the world?
Yeah, I think there are two important terms out here. One is the speed of aging, and another one is a more drastic concept called longevity escape velocity. So
Okay.
LEV. Let's talk about aging speed, right? Every year you turn 1 year older.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's say every year you are turning only 0.6 years older.
Oh, okay.
That's the speed of
So
aging.
that's how it's
Yeah,
decided.
that's the
Got
speed
it.
of aging. You're slowing down your aging. So that's how slow or how fast you are
Fast you are
aging.
aging.
And in fact, the concept of longevity escape velocity is very nice. I think
Oh,
naturally this will lead to the question of immortality. What Dr. Aubrey de Grey is someone I respect truly for the kind of work he has done in this field since the 1980s, I think. Legend. He's like the Gandalf of the longevity industry, right? So what he says is that as of today, it takes us 2 years to increase a lifespan by 1 year. Let's say if we can increase human lifespan by 1 year in less than a year,
true.
then there is an escape velocity. Because
Wow.
every 0.5 years, your tendency to live increases by 1 year. So that's immortality. In
Wow.
1 year, you can increase your life by
2
2 years. In
years.
2 years, you can increase your
Life
life
by
by four
4 years.
years, something like that. So that's longevity escape velocity. And the extremists of the aging and longevity field are trying to achieve longevity escape velocity, and the modernists of the field are trying to achieve slow aging rates, which is aging at a rate of zero point 0.5, zero point 0.6, or zero point 0.7 instead of 1x. So I
Wow.
think that's the difference between the two, and both of them are true to their own extent. LEV or longevity escape velocity is more for moonshots, research, and planning. Aging speeds is more for individuals who are trying to take control of their aging. We're gonna help them.
Great having you on this podcast of Softices Capital, and I have this huge respect for people like you who want not to just build money, not to just build brand because of they want to create money, but because you want to bring a change to society. And I have a respect to you more where you are building these services which is more affordable and which is more accessible. So if people like you are not in India who can, you could have gone in US and you could have get a fancy job over there in any medical, industry over there. But coming to India, building such things where it is difficult to create a category, it is difficult to convince the investor, it is difficult to aware the people, and you have put it this whole set of weight on your shoulders, and you are running towards bringing a change to society. So it gives a lot of respect. We as a VC company, we are also just starting up. So startups like you, we want people to get to you who can more relate to you. I want people who want to, who are suffering from certain diseases, they get to know about you. So we'll try to bring a change while meeting people like you. And thank you for having me over here. And it was great hosting you today.
No, it was as much a good experience for me as it was for you probably, and I think it's always good to come out and talk about longevity and get more people to hear about it, know about it, because I think again the sooner we'll realize it, the better lives will lead. So
True.
that's my goal, and hopefully I could help more and more people in this world.